Good morning, expert cytometry fans. Tim Bushnell here with Excite, and I wanted to talk to you today about choosing and selecting the next instrument for your laboratory. A lot of core directors are in the final throes of putting together shared instrumentation grants, and they've gone through a process of evaluating the machine. But sometimes you get extra, you may have money, or even you want to look at what is the next generation of instruments that your facility or your research might benefit. So the first thing you really have to do is ask yourself, what is the purpose of the instrument? Now, beyond just, is this a sorter, is this an analyzer, we start to get into questions about what is our current usage? How many people are using under 4 colors, 4 to 8, 8 to 12? How many people are moving into the high dimensional 16 plus parameter fluorescent parameters that they might want to need a higher dimensional instrument? Second thing you want to look at is the space in your facility. Some of these instruments are large. If you've ever seen an LSR2, it's extremely large. Some of the newer generation instruments are getting smaller and smaller so that they can fit in smaller spaces, meaning that you can easily or more easily incorporate them into your laboratory. So you want to look at the space within your facility where you're going to put it. You also want to look at your budget. How much money are you going to be able to spend on this instrument so that you can evaluate machines in that price range? It's not good for you to get sold on an X50 if you don't have the budget for that. I always joke, you don't want to test drive the BMW if you have a Ford Focus budget. So that becomes a very important thing to look at. Once you've decided kind of the class of instruments that you want and the range of prices, and encourage you to get the instrument vendors to give you a demo in your laboratory. It's all great to read the literature, and it's all great to go to a site, but bring them to your facility. When you do this, make sure you organize your investigators to get you samples, all the different sample types that you can, so you can evaluate them. We always like to do an evaluation where we look at them on our current instruments and on the instrument we're bringing in, so we can see how the data looks, how does it compare, similarities and differences, how does the workflow work. At that point, investigate the hardware. Get them to take the covers off so you can see what the hardware is, how easy it is for you to do basic maintenance, for example. Can you get in there and do an alignment? Is it easier for you to deal with issues like clogs and other minor inconveniences that the fluidics might have? This helps you know and assess how much service time you're going to have and potential downtime. So you really want to look at that process. The second thing you want to evaluate is the software. How does the software work? Is it easy to use? Is it intuitive? Is it counterintuitive? How do you collect data? How do you set up an experiment? Where are the different bells and whistles for setting voltages or gains? How does this do compensation on the instrument? Is it, or does it not do compensation on the instrument? How easy is it to set up your analysis template? Can you save templates? Really delve into the software. You want to know how useful and easy it is, because if you're buying an instrument from a vendor you've never worked with before, you really want to know that process, because that's going to be important for you to train people and transition people from one machine to another, especially if this new instrument is going to be replacing an older generation instrument. You got to understand that software component. So that's the 3. The fourth point that I want to bring up is the after-sales support. Have you ever had somebody who you buy something from and they disappear? I know I buy a car and my sales guy is gone the moment I've paid the bills and I have to now deal with somebody else. Find out what after support service they're going to be able to provide you. Can you not lock them down to bring in seminars to help promote the instrument, help talk about the new machine, things that you can do. Get those types of things, if you can, in writing, so that you know that you've got the support of the applications team coming in to help you get the new machine, the information about the machine out, and get people using it as best you can. Try to encourage them and try to get training in your facility as opposed to going to some remote site, because in your facility you can arrange the controls you want and the cells that you really want to put on there. I have a colleague who always used to say his first job was when he was evaluating a machine, was trying to figure out how to break it, so that if he knew how to break it, he could see how they fixed it, so he could help assess that. And I think the fifth important point about assessing a new instrument is the service. How well is the service model for the facility, or for the instrument? Now, is it a depot model like certain instruments where if it's broken, you send it back and they send you a temporary replacement? Do they have service engineers who come to your facility? What is their response time? Where are they positioned? How quickly would they get to you? In some cases, you might have a field service engineer who can fix your machine in the city. If you're in Boston, New York City, LA, San Francisco, like that, the really large cities. But if you're in the middle of nowhere, how many days is it going to take to get an engineer down? Because when a machine is down, that's lost productivity. That's a wasted money, wasted experiments, and you can't recoup that all the time. Not all samples can be run fixed or have to be run in a timely manner. So find out that information, and together then you have a package. You know what instrument you want and the price point you want. You know how good the hardware is and what it looks like, and you get an understanding of what pieces might break and what you can do to minimize service calls. Understanding the software, because that's where you're going to be interacting with the systems. So make sure you really understand that and all the quirks and bells and idiosyncrasies that it may have. Finally, really related to both getting support from the sales team and the service and the application scientist to help promote the instrument, and of course evaluating the service. So those are the 5 tips that I would give to you if you're looking to buy a new instrument and evaluating a new tool. And we've got all these great technologies coming out, so it's always good to be on the lookout to see what's coming up so that you can get a handle as to where you might have to go, even if you're moving forward and thinking about a 5-year plan for replacement of current instruments. Evaluate these machines with a critical eye. And with that, I'll say goodbye and have a great day, and we'll see you next week.